Started here, fresh 18-year-old, used
Very
to pester
fresh.
you with a relentless amount of questions.
You did, yes. Thankfully now you've calmed the questions down a little bit.
Yeah. Enough questions for today, Jordan. Hi guys, and welcome to the first episode of 2022. What a fantastic year this is going to be. A beer with the brewer and one of our absolute time favourite staff members, Geordie. How are we today, Geordie?
Excellent, mate.
Matty, how are we today?
Very well, mate. Very excited to be back for 2022.
Oh, here we go. Geordie, sorry I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Just keen to have a beer, really.
Oh, I like it. So, today we have the first beer of the season, and it's a little cracker. It's a hazy pale ale, the Heritage Hazy Pale Ale. Let's crack this one open, boys.
Hot off the canning line.
Straight off.
Cold, hopefully, not hot.
Oh yeah,
Cold off the canning line.
Cold is better.
Look at that.
Ain't that hazy?
Haze for days.
Absolute perfect.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Ooh.
Cheers.
Nope, lost
cheers.
already. Can't take him anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
This is delightful. This is very delightful. So, Hazy Pale Ale. Geordie is here today. He's graced us with our presence because 2 years ago, you did the engineered haze. Yep. That was kind of our first kind of hazy style of
We
beer,
did
a lighter version.
Yeah, we did a staff brew 2 years ago. Engineered Haze had quite a few complex different malts and hops to it. Tried to make a proper hazy beer with the brewer. And then 2 years later, we decided to turn another version of the Engineered Haze a little bit lower, 4.2%, and pay homage to the building that we started Rebel 2 in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And you came along for this brew day as well.
Yep, got nice and sweaty in the sauna that is B2.
Ain't it beautiful? Ain't it beautiful? So yes, like you said, Geordie, this is for our new brewery. Pay homage to it. Brewery and restaurant here. It's got a little fantastic drawing from Verg. Again, big shout out to that fella. He's nailing it from straight off the start. We've got a pirate ship in the background as well. I think that was Matty's idea.
With the Rebel logo.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, yeah, good pickup.
So yes, so on the can it tells you a little bit about the building that we have come to take over here with our new brewery and restaurant. I'm sure if you listen to a couple of extra podcasts, you'll see the rest of it. Otherwise, on the back, scan the QR code, and that'll take you to the information page. It's quite a long story. It's very in depth in relation to brewing history in Australia. And everything Australian, actually. So quite a nice story. But back to the beer. Geordie, do you want to run us through every intricate part of this?
Oh, I actually don't know if I know it that much in detail, quite frankly. I know
You're an engineer, right?
Isn't that we put a couple oats in, and I know that we put a couple of hops in. My favourite hop is in here, El Dorado, and then there's also Strata and what's now called Nectaron, which used to be called Hort 4337. Is that correct, Manny? Three favourite hops, nice and juicy, a little bit of stone
fruit.
fruit.
Some eclipse in as
I
well.
think we might have tossed a little bit of eclipse. And then
slice of mandarin.
I don't know. Did we put mandarin in?
No, eclipse.
Eclipse
is the mandarin.
Right.
You should watch our podcast.
No, I was like, I probably don't. Hey. Yeah, no, it's excellent, and we use the East Coast Haze.
We did.
Which actually, ironically, we picked for the Engineered Haze 2 years ago, and that's when Maddie decided, right, I'm using this haze from now on. This is what I'll be using for the Hazy IPA and Sessionable.
Yep.
High attenuation, low flocculation, and seems to bio-transform with a lot of the hops, produce a lot of the haze that maintains a lot of the hop characteristics when you're still sniffing and drinking it. But in terms of malts, Maddie, what did we put in? There were some oats in there.
A lot of oats. We've played around a fair bit with our different hazy beers.
Yep.
To try and get the beer to look like that, I guess.
And to stay like that.
To stay like that. So
it's kind of the first stage of getting it out and keeping it hazy.
Often
is
they'll
good.
will look like that out of the tank,
Yeah.
and then they'll drop bright, and that's not what we're after. We're after permanent haze.
Yes.
So we've spoken before about how you get the haze into the beer, and largely what you're going for with these sort of beers, it's mainly protein based, and what's happening with Geordie said with the biotransformation and a couple other things that happen during the brewing process.
Or not
Flocculation is referring to the yeast. So if a yeast is high in flocculation, it means it'll fall out of suspension or the beer. Low flock, it'll still sit in the beer. So some brewers will use a yeast low flocculation, and you drink the beer and it's still got yeast in it. For me, that sort of mutes the actual beer itself, sort of retards the hop flavour.
Yeah.
And also gives a bit of yeast bite or a bit of bitterness, which
Spicy burn.
it's sort of the opposite of what you're going for in these beers. You're going for a nice, soft, really fruity, sort of creamy profile, I guess.
Yep.
Depending who's written the tasting notes, they do get quite verbose with different descriptors.
Different adjectives through here.
Pillowy and words like that.
Yeah.
But
Also
it's
depends on
getting
how
the
many
balance
IPAs
right
you
of getting the beer nice and hazy, but not having it full of yeast. So I think we've been making hazy beers for probably 3 years now. The Engineered Haze, working
Engineered
title of Geordie Juice, was one of the earlier ones.
It actually stayed hazy for
I think
a
it
full
stayed
year.
hazy for a while,
Yeah.
But I think what actually happened is sort of started to nail it at Oxford Street, and then we come and started brewing here.
Yeah.
Basically had to restart.
But I think with the Engineered Haze, the yeast combined with when we put in hop hash,
Yes.
and it got a bit of a hop haze as well in there.
Yep.
Whereas I don't think we put any hash in this one. I think it was just
hop
the
pellets.
hop pellets in the brew. How many times did you dry hop it?
Oh, this one, I think it was a DDH, a double dry hop.
double dry, or a twice dry hop.
Or a twice dry
I'm
hop.
not sure about that
One of those
technology there.
acronyms in there. But I think in terms of the yeast versus haze ratio, I think this one's come out pretty good. So we literally just can this, and it doesn't hold on to that sort of yeast bite. So we're getting to a point now where we can make the beer look like that, and have it nice and clean and not full of yeast.
It'll
So
be interesting to see
it's
how long it lasts.
taken a lot of work, to be honest, to actually try and get it right, nail it on the new brewery. We've played around with
A few stuck mashes.
different levels of oats, different level of different protein malts.
Yeah.
Trying to get, as you said, a stuck mash. When you load the beer full of oats, it doesn't run very well.
Like porridge, right?
Like porridge. We've had our other brewer Wes a couple of times.
Oh, doesn't he
running
love
around
the stuck mash?
Loves the stuck mash.
Oh, jeez.
So it is trying to get the balance of getting it to run through the brew house, getting the haze into the beer, and getting the yeast to fall out to make a nice sort of pleasant drinking beer like this.
No,
So 200 kilos or 400 kilos of oats in this one?
I can't remember off the
Quite
top
a
of my
lot.
head. This was on the cusp of Christmas.
On the cusp of Christmas. And then
Probably
we tried a bit of chit
more
malt
thinking
or
about the
something?
eggnog I was going to drink than what was in the beer. But yeah, being the first beer of the year, it's come up all right, I think.
Almost breakfasty.
Absolutely.
That's
Like you said,
100%.
Matty, that gives that really nice mouthfeel, doesn't it?
It does.
Pillowy mouthfeel.
Illustrious.
Probably the first low ABV hazy we've done. 4.2, that's, on the lower end of the scale. We've done a couple of different IPAs plus the regular core IPA.
Yes.
So yeah, it's interesting to see how the hazy pale, which is becoming increasingly popular out in the craft beer world.
Definitely.
Most breweries either do one as part of their regular range or do it pretty regularly. So
Yeah, the haze craze is continuing on.
Australians are really looking for a really easy to drink sessionable beer, and if you can make a hazy that's soft rather than the bitey, because you get a lot of low ABVs that are actually quite bitey because they've over hopped it. And so
over-hopped it and also yeast in the beer.
Yeah, and
holds
so
on to the hops.
this one is just super sessionable at 4.2%, 1.2 standards a can, and just as hazy as a 7 point something percent.
Probably the brewery that pioneered it in Australia was Stone and Wood, really.
Yeah.
Well, they've called that a Pacifica. Really, that is the original hazy pale ale.
Yeah.
That was, I think that's a
Unfiltered and
4.2% beer, unfiltered. I think they use a bit of wheat in that. Obviously, that beer has changed a little bit as Stone and Wood have grown, but in terms of bringing that style to the Australian drinker, and we all know what happened with Stone and Wood. So, now I guess it's a little bit different. Stone and Wood isn't that hazy. Well, it does have a haze.
I think it clarified over the period.
Yeah,
that
so-
they had.
But yeah, it's very nice, sort of easy drinking, refreshing, summery type of beer, nice and fruity.
Definitely.
All those
Which
sort
the
of
hazy version
flavors
of
that
our
we're all
Reveller.
after. Sorry,
Hazy version of our Reveller.
it is. Yeah, it's not too far.
Although that's actually quite hazy in itself anyway.
It's another delicious drop.
Just delicious.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the first Beer with the Brewer and Geordie for the year.
We probably should mention that Geordie is literally about to fly off.
Yes.
Just about to salute that.
In a couple of hours, I'll be getting on a flight.
Tell us just a quick sentence or two of what your plan is, Geordie, for your trip away.
Loop around Italy and gain a few pounds in pizza and pasta, quite frankly.
Beautiful.
Well-deserved break after working for here for far too long.
Since you're, I think you're, what are you, the second ever employee?
Second longest lasting employee. We're at the
So
4-year club right now, mate.
started as just a baby.
You'll
Fresh
join
off
us
the
sooner
streets.
enough,
Eventually.
in the 4-year club.
Eventually.
Now look at him, matured.
Chewed.
It's like a fine beer.
I started here fresh 18-year-old, used
Very
to pester
fresh.
you with a relentless amount of
You
questions.
did, yes. Thankfully now you've calmed the questions down a little bit.
Yeah. Enough questions for today, Jordan.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the depths of the start of that engineering
Yeah.
degree.
I've only got a year and a half left, and I won't be naming any more beers after engineering, I'll tell you that.
No, fantastic. Well, cheers everyone. Go grab this as we in trade next week. Maddie, you've jump started the year with an absolute ripper.
Absolute ripper.
Cheers, boys.
And Geordie, safe travels, mate. Enjoy
Safe
a
travels.
well-earned break. And Italy, fantastic.
Don't do anything we wouldn't do, Geordie. You should be pretty safe over there.
Not sure that limits me much.
Yeah, no, that doesn't really. Unticks a few boxes. Anyway, guys, thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.